I f***ed up and should have done better. That's the tweet just sent out from Sam Bankman Fried, founder of FTX. In case you haven't been watching any financial media or have been ignoring most of social media, the second largest crypto exchange in the world has gone insolvent right before our eyes. This is a story that will have ripple effects throughout the crypto world and will likely force regulators to finally take real action. The first we heard of FTX's liquidity issues was on November the 6th, when the founder of the exchange, Sam Bankman Fried, tweeted that the liquidity issues didn't exist. Filthy, fuddy rumors spread by their enemies, nothing to worry about here. Less than 48 hours later, the exchange had done an emergency deal with rival exchange Binance, who's also the largest crypto exchange in the world, that aimed to keep it solvent while making it a wholly owned subsidiary of Binance for terms that were going to be worked out later. Couldn't have been much, right? At this point, most of our Twitter feeds had gone from nonstop Elon talk to nonstop FTX talk. But if we roll back a few days, for people who were paying attention, on November 2nd, Coindesk was reporting that it had obtained a leaked balance sheet from FTX's sister hedge fund and primary shareholder, Alameda Capital, and that the balance sheet was held together with FTT, the in-house coin that FTX uses to make their exchange run. So it's kind of like if I were operating a business or even a bank, and I capitalized my balance sheet with assets I controlled and even made up out of thin air, called Steve Coins. That Coindesk report turned out to be the FUD domino that started this whole slide. But it really got going when the Dirty Bubble Substack posted about it on November 4th. It was a simple and compelling illustration of FTX as that impossible self-propelled machine. The real winners here might be the serial wise asses on crypto Twitter who are still teeing off on the Bankman getting fried memes. But looking to Binance, the #1 crypto exchange by volume, who nearly absorbed their main competitor's entire user base for virtually nothing, well, they did all right too. Binance had already been operating for 2 full years in 2019 when Bankman Fried started FTX to take advantage of the growing interest in cryptocurrency markets. Back then, Bitcoin was trading for around $10,000, and hedge fund trader types saw incredible potential in the emerging decentralized finance space. It was bound to occur to pretty much everyone, in short order, that nothing was stopping them from minting their very own tokens. All those tokens were going to have to trade somewhere, so exchanges were in a great position to take the great financial decentralization and centralize it around themselves. Binance got a running start in 2017, so its initial 2019 investment in FTX for 20% for around $100 million made sense as a hedge. Kind of like eBay investing in Craigslist or Microsoft investing in Facebook. Binance exited their FTX position in July of 2021. Their take was $2.1 billion worth of a combination of their own Binance stablecoin and the FTT coin. Wait. So if the proceeds of your investment exit are paid in crypto, and some of those proceeds of your investment exit are paid in your own in-house crypto, and some of the proceeds of your investment exit are printed in crypto by the company that you exited, is it really an exit? It was a good deal for Binance and a great deal for FTX. FTX immediately did a $900 million equity raise that valued it at $18 billion, then did another $400 million equity raise in January of 2022 that valued it at $32 billion, and celebrated with a Super Bowl ad.
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff.
Hedge fund hustler types only moved on to running exchanges for coins that anyone could invent after they figured out what all could be done with tokens they invented themselves. The first questionable crypto banking token was probably Tether, a token built to facilitate easy entry into the crypto world for any dollars whose owners were willing to accept the risk of owning the unaudited stablecoin. Tether is pegged to the US dollar, so a speculator can buy 10,000 Tether for 10,000 US dollars. Then trade them back for Tether when they want their cash out, because for each Tether in circulation, Tether Inc. is supposed to have $1 US in its reserves. But the British Virgin Island incorporated Tether Inc. has never had its reserve base audited. If it were overminting Tether in 2018 to juice the volume, then using it to buy Bitcoin and sending the Bitcoin market on an all-time tear, nobody would ever know the difference. Okay, so let's think about it for a second. If overminted Tether was used to buy Bitcoin and that buying took Bitcoin from $8,000 to $25,000, Tether Inc.'s newly valuable Bitcoin position would be more than enough to back the overminted Tether coins with US dollars, at least on paper. Today, Tether is the stablecoin. It does more volume than Bitcoin. The overminting that put it where it is, real or imagined, was an inspiration to today's masters of the crypto universe. FTX made leveraged tokens for traders who wanted to get kinky about it. You know the types: derivative freaks, short sellers, sick, nasty, Freaky stuff that normally takes a margin loan and explicit permission from the head of the compliance department. FTX just built the trades out of versions of its in-house token and let those freaks go wild. Think Bitcoin's going up? Want triple exposure? There's a coin for that. Do you think Bitcoin's going down? Want triple the exposure? Well, guess what? There's a coin for that too. FTX made a whole universe of kinky custom derivatives tokens. Each exchange-traded coin held a mix of FTX perpetual futures contracts. These are futures contracts written on the coin that settle the long positions with the short positions every hour according to the formula that keeps the price stable and the contracts open. Look, it sounds confusing. Because it is confusing. It's the type of thing that's bound to run into liquidity issues eventually. But FTX had an ace in the hole, its own native FTX token, FTT. FTX users who held FTT got significant commission discounts. That kept the token's price up and gave FTX a position to borrow against when it needed to make settlement. By 2021, FTX was among the world's top crypto exchanges in volume, consistently right behind Binance. And that's where Sam Bankman-Fried chose to get aggressive. FTX took its talents to South Beach and bought the naming rights to FTX Stadium, home of the Miami Heat. They bought endorsements from noted Tank Shark and Jeopardy contestant Kevin O'Leary and from the one and only Tom Brady.
I'm getting into crypto. With FTX. You in?
By June of 2022, the market was sophisticated enough to pick up on the self-minting snow job. Off-brand stablecoin Terra and its support coin Luna were the first to fall apart. That sent the market stumbling and set up the big swan dive for Celsius. Celsius was more of a consumer banking entity than a crypto exchange. It gained users and their deposits by paying high interest rates in coins that it minted itself. It then used deposits and borrowings to support the price of its own self-minted token, until there was so much of its own token on its own balance sheet that nobody could take it seriously anymore. Least of all, its lenders. The sudden bankruptcy of Celsius didn't slow FTX down. It remained among the top crypto exchanges in terms of volume and emerged as the leading bidder for the assets of bankrupt crypto brokerage Voyager. It looked like an aggressive international operator cleaning up on the carnage and getting ready for the next run until Coindesk and the Dirty Bubble Substack lit the fuse on a FUD bomb. FTX came apart all at once after that. And on Tuesday, for an instant, at least in terms of a non-binding LOI, Changpeng Zhao owned it all. It turned out that FTT, the in-house token that FTX used to power its kinky derivative products, made up a good portion of the FTX balance sheet and the balance sheet of Alameda Capital, presumably the largest shareholder. See, that wouldn't be a problem, necessarily, even with all the FUD flying around, if FTT could maintain a stable price and steady volume. But, unfortunately for FTX, a significant holder of FTT was in no mood to hodl. 2020 and 2021 were banner years for crypto, and both Binance and FTX saw the volume on their exchanges explode. FTX did another capital raise in 2020 that valued them at $18 billion, and Binance sold its equity interest back to FTX in 2021, right around the time that FTX moved its headquarters to the Bahamas. Binance had 23 million FTT left over from its FTX transaction in July of 2021. About 12% of the float. So out of nowhere on November 6th, Zhao comes in with an announcement in the middle of the FUD storm that Binance would be selling its FTT position, which could have been the coup de grace in crypto's greatest rug pull, but the crypto world comes at you fast. Did CZ know? Well, he'd probably never admit it. As we record this, Binance isn't buying FTX, and neither is anyone else. Once the market came apart for the FTT token, there was no saving this pig. But for a second there, Binance had worked out a deal that had it acquiring FTX and all its deposits and all its users for the price of providing enough liquidity to keep it open. Then, CZ figured out how much liquidity that actually was. FTX said on Wednesday that they were facing an $8 billion shortfall and needed $4 billion just to stay solvent. In the past 24 hours alone, FTT's market cap has fallen from $2.9 billion down to under $800 million. If the rug pull takeover maneuver had worked out, Binance would have taken over the benefit of all the expensive advertising and development FTX did over the past 3 years for nothing and made itself the #1 crypto exchange in the world by an even wider margin. But since the takeover wasn't worth doing, Binance is just going to have to settle for being the #1 crypto exchange in the world, but not by as wide of a margin as what could have been. And since CZ was already mounted up on his white horse anyhow, it would be a real shame to get off without taking a victory lap. He used his moment in the spotlight to tell everyone that he could have never orchestrated this. He was as surprised as the rest of us. It's not good for anyone. It's sad, but in the end, we all learned a couple of valuable lessons. We expect the reigning champ to walk away from all this without a scratch, and he has every reason to reassure everyone involved with Binance that they're on solid ground. But what did he think the industry was made of exactly? Celsius called it a flywheel and basically spelled out what it was doing in the Cell white paper. FTX didn't draw it out in a cartoon, but its white paper was just as explicit about what it was doing. There's no reason not to take CZ's word for it when he says that Binance isn't using its BNB coin as collateral. But it's worth wondering how the coin's stability, or lack thereof stability, might affect the exchange and its functioning. All right, everybody, thank you for watching, and please let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think that Binance and Tether are the next shoe to drop, or do you think that the crypto world is about to become more transparent and more mainstream? All right, thank you, everybody.